Well, good morning, everybody. I am the Bald Guy. I am so happy you have joined me as we continue our look into who the sons of God were. Now, if you remember our last video, which I hope you watched, a lot of people think they were angels. And we kind of went through the thing of how that couldn't be. Okay? Because it doesn't make sense. Now, let's look at two more views because this third view that I'm going to explain is probably more the right one. So, in fact, I do believe it is the right one. So, the second view is a less popular one, that there were kings and they married common women to build their harems, and this went on and on and on and on. And you look at that and go, well, that kind of doesn't make sense. Why? Well, there's no really separation of classes in Genesis. Not really. And you are never forbidden in the Bible at all to marry lower class. Solomon did it. David did it. David was king. Solomon was king. There were many kings, and it was never forbidden. God said never you can marry a lower class woman. There was never a separation. God doesn't separate people. So, therefore, we know the fact that, no, those scholars are wrong. The few that believe in that, no, that can't happen. All right, here's the explanation that does make sense. Okay, remember, the Bible seems to focus on, if you look at anything in the Bible, you could go back to the beginning and to the end of it. And it all ties in together. Okay, it's one big story and it all ties in together. Now, you notice that what Thomas did in the New Testament is that distinct difference in Cain and Seth's line. Now, Cain's line, Canaanites, selfish, earthly, sexually impure. And the authority was all on their own. They had no intent at all to be with God. Period. That's just the way it was. Now, Seth's line, if you look at his line, they were full of devotion, fellowship, testimony, and they lived righteous by God. So there are two distinct, if you want to say classes, if you want to say peoples, which I prefer peoples, there they were. And there was a separation. Now remember, they were all on one big area, what we call the Middle East region. This whole area, this was where they were all at. Every people on earth was there. And what had happened was that the Seth men saw how beautiful the Canaanite women were and married them. And the Canaanite men saw how beautiful the daughters of Seth's line, which are sons of God because they worship God, and married them. Now, and then their hearts started turning toward evil, and it kept going and going and going. How do we know this? How do we know this? We can take a look at examples. Solomon is the best one you can get. Fully devoted to God, and the guy's heart just completely turned once he started marrying all of these women that, from Egypt and everywhere else that turned his heart away from God. So, Solomon is the biggest reason. And that's why God says, plain out in the Bible, that you do not intermarry. He told that to the Israelites. You don't marry these women from these lands the land I'm sending you to. Don't intermarry with them because they're going to turn your heart away. What happened? They did, and it happened. And he tells us today that we are not to marry a non-believer. If you're a believer, you should not marry a non-believer because your heart can be turned astray. And what happens? Divorce. All this other stuff that God doesn't want happen. Their hearts turn astray. That's what happens to us. So, and this is what happened back then. Back then happens today. Today happened back then. history repeating itself because we don't learn from it. And as these generations, well, going back there, Seth's line, Cain's line, as these generations, they started intertwining in marriage, is that the hearts of these women and these men started turning away from God. Their kids turned away from God. Everybody turned away from God. And God's patient. He's waiting. He's hoping, through Seth's line all the way down, is that people's hearts are going to turn back to him. He's waiting patiently. He's waiting patiently. And then it comes down to basically everybody is turned away from God except for Noah and his family. Noah's righteous. His family is starting to turn away from God too. That's the Messiah. That's the line that Jesus is coming from. The Messiah is coming from this line of Seth. No more. God waited till absolutely last minute to say enough, because this line cannot. Satan is not going to win. This was Satan's plan, to destroy this line, destroy it. He has no interest in humanity. He does not care about us at all, and all he wants to do is destroy God's plan. God's plan was for the Messiah to come to save us all. And it was going to happen later on in history. And he almost did it. He almost did it until God said, okay, no more. I can't let it happen. And that is the reason for the flood. Was that he just couldn't wait any longer because this line was about to be wiped out. He waited as long as he could for people's hearts to turn. What amazing love, huh? So that is the theory. That is the main focus, and that is why the sons of God, okay, coming from me, the sons of God, are the line of Seth. It makes sense. It flows right along with the Bible and the story of the Bible and how things go. Okay? And like I told you before, don't put myth into the Bible. Myth does not belong in the Bible at all. Okay? So you can't bring in all of these other books and all these cultures in the Bible. No. Don't ever do that. I mean, reading about Greek mythology, reading about other stuff, learning about it so you know how to refute it is important. Okay? Interesting reads only. This book of Enosh, of Jezreel, the rest of them that's been found in all these scrolls. If it wasn't in there, and if it was actually true, God would have put it in the Bible. But it's not. It's an interesting read that someone thought of way of things happen. That's all. And like I've told you every single time, do not take my word for it. Okay, do not take a preacher's word for it. You read for yourself. You read the Bible. You do the research. Is it right? Does it make sense? This is what this preacher's saying true. Is that because you can be very easily led astray by false teachers. Okay? If you just take their word for it. That's why God says you dig into his word, that you put it in your heart and your mind. You want to verify everything else according to the book. Okay? According to your life book. You think of the Bible as your life book. That's the way you want to live. So, what's my final thought? What is the meaning of this sons of God thing? How does it apply to us today? It's simple. God is full of love, folks. He loves you. You don't mix religion into it, any kind of religion. You don't intermix with what he has to say. Everything he says in here is for us to live an amazing, wonderful life. Okay? I want you to take this religious aspect of a relationship with God out. Throw it out, folks. Okay? Because, no. Okay? It does you no good. Okay? Without God, religion, you know, it doesn't make sense, okay? God does not want you to be religious. He wants you to have a relationship. He does it all throughout the Bible. And that's why Jesus came, was that to build a personal relationship with all of us. So that's what he wants from you. He wants that relationship aspect. You know, that's why the Pharisees and stuff got nailed so many times, because they focused all on religion. Are you focusing all on religion? Or are you going to focus on a relationship with your Creator, with your Father, with the one who loves you? Okay? That's what you want to do. You don't have to change, you know, the style of person you are. But the way you live your life changes, not because of duty or obligation, because of what happens to you. And then it's an amazing thing of the love you get inside you that is expressed outward. You understand? Expressed outward to your kids, to your wife, to your friends, to your family. I mean, just everything you do just changes. And it doesn't change us because of rules. It doesn't change us because you do this or you do that. Okay? It changes because of the inside of you. Okay, so don't get caught up in all of this religious hobo garbage. Okay, get away from that. God doesn't want that. He wants you to, through everything you go through, just have a personal relationship with him. Okay? Are things going to be a bed of roses, or is it going to be sweet and sour and you walk in lily fields? No. No. Through those hardships we endure, and that I'm sure Noah endured and everybody else before endured, throughout the Bible, was for a greater cause, was for something amazing, and it's to build you up in him, and to make you strong, and to make you just to bring you so much closer to him if you'll let it happen. Okay, that's the biggest thing. Our free will kind of gets in that way. We get mad, we get sad, and we want to just throw everything out the door, and my dog's barking, and just forget everything, you know, and just throw God out the window when bad things happen. Don't let that happen. Draw closer, okay? Draw closer. Realize that his plan is there. We can't see it. We don't know. I mean, devastating stuff happens. Roll with it. Keep developing that closer relationship, because it's going to change and rock your world no matter what, man. No matter what they do to you, they can't take that away. See, that's what they're trying to take away. All this bad stuff tries to take you away from God. The world, everything in the world tries to take you away from God. You don't want that. Okay? You don't want to lose that relationship, man. It's too cool to have. So that's my final thought, okay? So next, we're going to focus on the last few aspects of Genesis 1 through 4 and get into some more stuff, which is the ark itself. That's amazing. But, so, we're going to focus in on the Nephilim and the giants of the time. And the age thing, the 130. Man will not live past... What was that? That man is not going to live past 120 years. That's right. So, that's what we're going to focus on next time. And get into that a little bit. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got a lot out of it. I am the bald guy. I'm going to go do some lawn mowing and do some other stuff. I hope you have a great, godly day. Keep building a relationship, folks. Love you. Peace out.